Hello Internet and welcome to Who Cares, where we're going to discuss and debate the Doctor on his ventures through space and time.
And in this episode, Mark Gatiss does find a way to act himself out of a wet paper bag.
Gatiss just wants any excuse to show off his Fruit Loops.
Hello everyone, I'm Hugo.
And I'm Jake.
And this, like we said, is Who Cares. Welcome back. We're so glad we're getting to do
Yeah.
another one of these!
Yeah, and then when does the new season start? I don't know.
And halfway in next year. I think it's spring.
So like
Spring or fall.
4 months, so first, second quarter?
Something like that.
Not bad.
So, today we got the final episode of Peter Capaldi, Pearl
Yeah.
Mackie, the Matt Lucas showed
Jenna
up.
Coleman.
Jenna Coleman, Stephen Moffat, possibly Mark Gatiss, I don't know. It's really the end of a huge era for Doctor Who.
Specifically the Moffat era more than anyone else.
Yeah, and honestly, for what we got, I thought this was a pretty solid closing out of all of those things, considering the criticisms we have had in Moffat and his finales in the past.
Yeah.
Luckily, this time he had to be final in what he was doing.
You know what? I like this.
I think it reined him in a little bit.
I like this less than Smith's final Christmas special.
Yeah, that was pretty good.
But it's better than the other ones, I think, that he's done.
It's one of the better, I think, New Who Regeneration episodes. I like obviously this is a multi-Doctor story, one of the few we get. And this one is interesting in that it is the first Doctor and the 12th Doctor for the second time. The first Doctor is being recast. That happened with the 5 Doctors, and now David Bradley sort of reprising his role from An Adventure in Space and Time.
Which, by the way, I think he does a fine job. I like seeing old, crotchety, kind of asshole Doctor. Of course, there's going to be people that are like, hey, why was he sexist? I mean, it kind of makes sense. I like that he got to make jokes with the World War I guy, Mark Gatiss.
Yeah.
About that. But I don't know that he was actually ever like a sexist cunt.
Not to the level... Let me explain. I watch more Classic Who than you do.
Of course. I've watched a little bit for the record.
For the first Doctor has a very clear arc. And what we got here was
non-interventionalist to interventionalist.
Kind of, but he does soften over the arc. In this episode, you get sort of a caricature of the first Doctor that takes more elements from earlier, where he is more of an asshole.
Which I think for an audience who hasn't seen him is beneficial, but for people like more you than me, but also I'm included, I kind of know where the Doctor is at that point. The first Doctor, when he's regenerating, he should be close to being like, you know what, let's do it.
Yeah.
So, and also he abandons his people at the South Pole, which is very first Doctor.
No, don't worry. He goes back. They're there for the regeneration in the original, so him going back, he does go back to that exact spot. Sure. And they're fine, Ben and Polly. Nice cameo by whoever the fuck played Ben and Polly in this for 5 seconds, by the way.
I also like the way it was filmed. Was a little bit lower resolution, but color.
I really appreciated the
square in,
square out.
4x3 instead of a 16:9.
Oh, and the last time on Doctor Who 700 whatever episodes ago. That's funny. That's a great opening bit.
I thought it was a little Moffat-y in times. Of course, you had your return of Pearl Mackie, who does a fine job for the record.
I didn't mind that, especially considering they already wrote her death away in the last one, and I was fine the way they wrote that out.
And I guess we'll just skip forward a little bit because it's a Moffat thing. The return of Clara Oswald for just a minute. Not even a minute. And for the record, didn't groan. I didn't groan. It was a quick little thing. It de-retconned sort of the memory wipe, and that's okay because moving forward it opens up the thing for the new guy. I understand why he would do it, right? He's like, oh, you gotta have her back, and he's got all his memories. Okay, we're good. And that was it. And then it was Pearl again.
Yeah. It was fine. It was just a weird composite shot. You could tell she was busy shooting whatever fucking thing.
She was green screened.
She was clearly green screened in, and the lighting didn't quite match up right. But which I think is why they put that big sunrise behind her to kind of mask the bad lighting matching. Yeah. But anyway, it was tolerable. It was fine.
And it wasn't the Doctor's fault that the Christmas Day armistice during World War I happened, which is nice.
Yeah,
because it just sort of happened and he gave it to the human race. And like I like it when the Doctor is there for things that you think the Doctor may have caused, but didn't cause. That's an interesting take. It would very easily have been like, oh, and this is why the Doctor created, don't fight, guys! And he lets the TARDIS, which was what I thought the twist was, the TARDIS has the sort of the translation circuit, so everyone can understand each other, and they realize their differences because they set it up where they couldn't understand. And maybe that was a red herring, actually, which is kind of good, because at the end, the World War I guy played by Mark Gatiss and whoever was going to shoot the German dude, they can't communicate at the beginning, and then the armistice happens. He basically just moved time a little bit.
Yeah. By the way, if anyone, I would assume most people know this. That actually happened.
Yeah,
that
it really did happen.
Which is funny because if I were someone who didn't know that, I'd probably look at that and go,
"What?
What a cheesy, stupid ending for Doctor Who.
Right,
what people in trench warfare just stopped because they were sick."
That was
actually
thing.
happened.
Yeah.
That actually happened in
World War I. Yeah. I'm trying to think. I don't know. It was a solid episode. It's not like one of my favorite things that he's ever done. But I think Capaldi got a good send-off. It didn't feel rushed. It didn't feel like, fuck you, Capaldi. It felt like we got a little time. And there was no threat. It was just kind of a Doctor episode.
There was stuff I really liked. I thought it served well as a sort of an epilogue to what was the finale.
It definitely felt like an epilogue, too. It didn't feel like a finale.
Yeah. I liked the part where it turned out there was no threat.
Yeah.
Basically, the plan is Missy's evil plan, but used by good guys and not evil. Essentially,
right,
what they're doing, future humans, is what Gallifreyans already do with the Matrix, which is when people die, they make a copy of them and they upload them to some sort of future heaven server. Kind of like Black Mirror-esque, if you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
And that's fine. It's not an evil plan. It's a benevolent future time travel thing, which I enjoyed. So it turned out the only conflict in this episode is the conflict that comes up against us all, and that's the Doctor facing his own mortality as much as he can. And I thought that was well done, juxtaposed. This is why I don't mind First Doctor being more caricature First Doctor than actual First Doctor, because he was less of a character in this and more of a point of reference for current Doctor Capaldi, 12th Doctor, to reflect upon his past selves, his past
It almost
actions.
felt like a like you could very easily say he hallucinated that in another more poorly written script, right?
Yeah.
And he's just like, back and forth, and it would have worked exactly the same way as far as how he uses the First Doctor to reflect on himself.
Yeah.
So, I mean, there was some good moments near the end where you got the cameos back from, Nardole specifically, I think was pretty fun.
I liked some of the interactions with the First and Capaldi were good. I liked when First Doctor's kind of looking at stuff with his monocle. He sees the guy with the sunglasses, and he's like, "What?" That's kind of an obvious joke. But then when he actually gets to 12th Doctor's like sonic screwdrivering something, and the First Doctor's like, "No, look her in the face."
Yeah,
because he didn't have.
It's also sort of a technology thing,
and that was a nice little, we both have our strengths moment. Doctor Who's weird in that way, in that
all the Doctors could benefit from having the other ones around, actually.
The thing is, with the First Doctor, you have to show reverence because it's the First Doctor.
Right.
However, in story, he should be the shittiest Doctor because he's the least experienced.
Right. But it was a good way, because he doesn't have a sonic screwdriver. He doesn't, he barely drives the TARDIS correctly.
Yeah, he can't.
So, yeah, it was a good way to be like, oh, there were reasons that he's the Doctor still, being the First Doctor, specifically his attention to detail, his almost cold objectivity is kind of, it's a benefit at times.
Yep.
And, but also, the 12th Doctor has more toys that he can do to more things with.
Yeah.
I mean, he's the one that immediately understood what was happening and not the First Doctor.
I appreciated, this was just a little touch, when the First Doctor's using his TARDIS and they go through the time vortex, it looks more like sort of a reimagining of the classic time vortex, which is interesting. I'm surprised they sprung the money to do that, even for just the quick shots they did. It was cool.
Mm-hmm.
And I loved seeing that old model of the TARDIS, but done in new CG flying through that. It was
I really liked the interior that they redid. Was it the same one they used in Space and Time?
It's the same one they used Adventure in Space and Time, because that's the same set that's been at the Cardiff Doctor Who experience for a really long time. They used it in Adventure in Space and Time. They used it at the finale with Clara, where they did the memory erasing, and it was just another Type 40 TARDIS. They've used that set several times.
Yeah, very cool. And of course, they had the old box exterior versus the new one, which was fun. They got to talk about that a little bit.
Oh yeah, I did like the little comments about how the outside has changed. Mm-hmm. Did you notice that Capaldi, when he walked up to the old TARDIS, he looked at it too, like he like he hasn't noticed this.
Also, it felt like kind of like the doors were smaller, and he was kind of,
Yeah.
It was well done. I think attention to detail is. I don't think Moffat's ever hurt for references to old Who.
No.
So if you're gonna do it, it's the way to do it. I really appreciate that he's done.
Yeah.
And I look forward to the new actress that's playing the Doctor, and I can't wait for all the angry comments in this next season. I'm going to be very excited. And then about halfway through, we're going to lose those people, and then we're going to get the people that are just like Doctor Who because it's fun.
Yeah.
By the way, her first little being the Doctor stuff felt all right.
Oh, let's talk about Capaldi's like ending speech, and then we'll talk about
into that. That makes sense.
Firstly, let's talk about the first Doctor's regeneration. That was done really well after the Christmas armistice. They kind of go their separate ways. That's nice. Back down into black and white. What I would have done if I was the director, this is such an asshole thing to ask as a director, but if I were them, I would have been like, this is going to be really fucking cool. So it's going to zoom back down into like the second Doctor, and then we're going to do a fast forward effect through every episode of Doctor Who. You know what I mean? You wouldn't have to catch everything, but and then back up to right where we just were, but back with Capaldi, to show that sense of continuity between the two.
And also that it's TV.
Yeah. I thought that would have been fun. But I understand time-wise, and maybe it just wouldn't have worked out.
Sure. I mean, they only had 8 months to do it. What?
But then Capaldi gets back on the TARDIS, and he kind of talks to the TARDIS and convinces himself into, well, what's one more life? It's fine.
Sure.
Convinces himself. The speech, he kind of gives a speech to his next self, which is interesting. He hasn't
They
really
haven't done that before, yeah.
And I think that's fitting for Capaldi, because often with the regenerations, you can talk about what maybe one learned in character progression and whatnot. And I think this was a good summation, because I think with Capaldi, a lot of people were turned off initially because he wasn't as doctory.
He was very first Doctor, which is, I mean,
as Matt Smith and Tennant were, and that's because I think it was,
I say even Eccleston.
Yeah,
Eccleston had like these really fun moments.
He was essentially the first Doctor of a new regeneration cycle. It was a Doctor who had taken a step back from his "I'm a character." It's a metatextual analysis in the first season, and you can argue whether or not it was done well. There are plenty of places it weren't. It's Moffat, but he's trying to dissect from within the text the subtext and metatextual stuff. As the Doctor, is the Doctor a good person? Are the things he do?
I really liked that idea for a thesis on Doctor Who, by the way. Like, and we also go back to Rusty, the when he goes inside the Dalek, and the line that I think is famous from Capaldi's run is you don't make a good person, you make a Dalek.
You're a good Dalek, yeah. So I think this ending speech of Capaldi,
this is what I learned.
This is what I learned for the next Doctor, and it's basically
be kind.
Be kind. What his final line is great. It's be kind. Be kind. What is it?
No. He definitely says run fast. His last words are be kind. I forget his first things, but we just watched it. I can't believe we can't remember it. But it was good, even though apparently not memorable. I think there's just so much going through my head. I can't really get around it. It wasn't as, I don't know. I think Smith still had a better written send off.
Yeah,
like that one made me feel things. This one didn't really make me feel a ton.
No, I think it's because it went into the corny category just a little bit too much, even for me. With when he's like, "Never tell anyone your name; they wouldn't understand."
Except for the children.
Except for children, and I get it. Doctor Who is a family show, and I get it. But like, how seriously can I take that when you're like writhing on the ground? Only children can understand my name when the stars are aligned, and then
you didn't actually make up any of those words, by the way. That was actually kind of... So yeah, I think that was a little
like
corny.
That, though. He didn't do it like
he didn't. He didn't actually have tiny, slightly palsied T-Rex arms. No,
that was a choice I made as an actor, and that's why I'm not Doctor Who.
But no, I think the core idea behind that speech was done well, and I think he delivered it as best as he could. And I think if it was another actor, it would have been even cornier in those moments.
I think he nails the final bit right before the generation, which is that there's 3 lines, I forget what they are. One's be kind and one's run fast. I know there's one more. That's really good. God, now it's going to bug me. Anyway, and then Did you notice the last shot of him is this, too?
Yeah.
Which was the first shot you had of him in the 15th special.
And then that moves into, I forget the actress's name.
Jodie Whittaker.
Jodie Whittaker, thank you.
You'll remember it.
Yeah, I will.
I guarantee it.
And then she gets that same, blend shot. And then we go out. And they shot it in a way that, like, maybe you didn't know that Jodie Whittaker was the new Doctor?
Yeah.
Which I think would work better if you don't just release the new Doctor every time that happens. Like, just don't do it.
They have to because they film on location in a lot of places, and if they didn't, tabloids
I guess,
would get
but
it,
I would rather you just don't, and the tabloids can get it. But once we get the actual on-screen reveal, it makes it real instead of putting out a promo. You know what I mean? It makes it a better reveal.
I'm curious
regardless.
if anyone out there was able to remain unspoiled and.
I saw a few videos. A video, specifically, like a dad kept it from his daughter, and she just started beaming, which is cool. I think that's fun.
That's the video like that. Anyone who's like, but why though?
Yeah, that's why. I don't know. That's why.
I want to show that video. That like,
come on.
Is your
it's a TV show for children.
Is your concern over this science fiction TV show more so than the joy it brought this child to see that someone of her gender gets to be the hero?
I mean,
come on. It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter at all. I don't know. I think Jodie Whittaker will do fine. And she says, "Oh, brilliant, really cool." And I think that it gave me a lot of her personality in just a line.
Yeah,
I think that was good.
It was. I gave me the impression again.
We got this curious sort of Tennant Smith, thing happening, but I think she's gonna trend towards the more Tennant than Smith.
Yeah.
But a little bit of the playfulness and curiosity of Smith, and I like that balance.
Yeah,
especially with a female lead, because that plays better than like trying to be like, oh, female lead, we have to intentionally make her super mature, or female lead, we have to make her super bubbly and dorky. I think having that little balance, it feels good.
Yeah. So the actual episode ends with her
delivering
her line. Being blown out of the TARDIS dematerializes. As it's dematerializing, you can see the interior absolutely just.
We got a new TARDIS
so we're
interior
gonna get a
for
new
sure.
TARDIS interior.
She even pulls off like one of the was it the accelerator thing?
I think part of this is honestly because this happened, if you remember, when David Tennant
into Smith. Yeah, it crashed.
They crashed and
fire, and he has. By the way, the climbing scene where he's spelunking it. What a great shot!
Yeah. I think
good job on that, Moffat.
This is a courtesy the showrunners give to the next showrunner, just to say clean slate.
Well, that's why I think exactly why I think the Clara scene exists.
Yeah,
is a courtesy to Turnbull. Chibnall. We'll get you right. Just when it happens. And I mean, I think it's like try to delete as much of your in head canon if you were to run it another 3 years, Moffat. I can't believe he would do that, but he did it because it's Moffat, and he did a solid. Also, maybe on-screen kill Mark Gatiss for me next time, just so I can get a little bit of a release.
Poor Mark Gatiss.
Mark Gatiss is garbage, man. Everything he does is like, I'm Mark Gatiss, I am a thespian. Oh wait, I'm a writer now. Wait, I direct as well. Mark, he's basically 1950s British person in now time. I don't like him.
If it were the 1870s, he'd be doing mad expeditions to India.
Oh, fuck yeah, right, yeah. He'd be like, he'd plant his flag in India and take some brown people back to the motherland.
He'd be dressed just like the bad guy from Jumanji.
Yeah, you're right. That's our Mark Gatiss riff for a while. But this leaves us in a weird spot because we have the TARDIS now gone and we have new Jodie Whittaker falling into probably
London area.
English Channel. I have no fucking clue where it is, but a river,
or wherever.
It was definitely London, I think, though.
It looked like London city. It might just be high enough that it's sort of Britain, and you can see London particularly because
I don't really remember.
I don't know
which, but she's falling into water.
I don't fly over Great Britain very often.
Really?
Yeah.
No, maybe we should board our Zeppelins
and
fly alongside Mark Gatiss and his.
So I think it's time for some wild speculation.
Yay, wild speculation time.
For the next season.
Sure.
Now, Chibnall has said and gone on record several times saying he wants to do a very unique, fresh start kind of season. Now, I think what he's going to do is sort of take notes from the Third Doctor era when that first started.
Very terrestrial.
Yes, and have Jodie without her TARDIS, at least for
I think the first season,
or first half a season,
or the first arc of this first season is probably going to be I need the TARDIS back. It's my thing, and then maybe like it's broken, she has to fix it.
The rumor is, based on what's been filming so far for that episode, the first episode, it looks like she's living in a junkyard, much like the first Doctor did, although he had the TARDIS at the time. And it looks like she's going around getting a bunch of parts in, like, shopping carts. So it's going to look like, I'm guessing, she's going to be going around. She's the crazy person around town who's homeless, who lives in the thing, who's building something.
That kind of explains her outfit.
Yeah. And I'm assuming some people who are her companions, we've seen pictures and stuff of who the companions are going to be.
Hey, you need a sandwich?
They'll get involved with the homeless lady who's crazy, and it's going to turn out, oh no, she's looking for her TARDIS.
That's a fun. I wonder how differently it will be shot now.
That's interesting, because you'll notice between Russell T Davies and Moffat, there was a drastic shift in production quality and how it was shot.
It went to almost like after school children's like ghostwriter.
Yeah.
I mean, much better than that, but still the style of it, where it's a very stationary camera and stuff, to this very cinematic. When we hit Matt Smith, it's immediately cinematic, and that's why I think it's a good jumping on point for people. It's more accessible.
This is going to be even better. This is the cleanest break Doctor Who has ever had, besides the break between.
Yeah. Well, even then, I mean, maybe, but you consider that film that came out.
I guess
that puts a big old wrench in the system,
because showrunners leaving. Yeah. None of the same directors are coming back.
Yeah.
None of the same writers are coming back next year.
They have a writer's room, correct?
That was the rumor, but so far nothing's been announced officially or anything. But they've said none of the writers who have written for New Who so far are coming back, which is a bummer for me, because I really like Jamie Matheson, Mummy on the Orient Express, and some of the good ones. I guess he won't be coming back.
At least not this season.
Not this season.
I like that. Let's fresh step this stuff.
That's fine.
And kind of, it's not a reboot, but I think fans like us need a break from the Moffatisms of the past.
So, new TARDIS entirely. I actually already have the new one on my phone. My wallpaper's a spinning TARDIS, and they already updated it to the new one. Basically, the sign is inverted.
It's black, right?
The sign's, instead of white with black text, it's black with white text.
Right. As long as they don't, I mean, as long as they never change the outside of it from a police box, a blue one specifically with a light on top, I think it's fine. Regardless of what you do. Yeah. The inside I'm very interested in, and that's going to be a huge reveal, I think.
Yeah, I'm hoping for... Oh, God, I've wanted this since the movie and since the fourth Doctor. I saw the fourth Doctor's second interior. He had a secondary control room, which was all made of wood.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I like that.
And it was very homey, and they kind of brought some of that back with the Eighth Doctor in the movie. There was very homey, full of bookcases and stuff, even more so than Capaldi's was.
I like the clutter, but not the boing sort of Tenet version.
Yeah. So I'm hoping if we got a TARDIS with kind of looks more like a home. Yeah. Some woods, especially because Capaldi's was so sterile and metal.
Mm-hmm. I mean, he did have the bookcases, but
they were metal, very...
Yeah, it felt rigid.
So I would like a more wooden and naturalistic looking, lived-in TARDIS.
It doesn't need to be super over the top for me.
Especially considering we're getting, 3 companions right off the bat. Mm-hmm. I'm assuming that maybe some of them will be live-in companions, which, again, we haven't had since, it's been a while.
It'd be interesting if she got the TARDIS back and it's more like an apartment than a ship because it can't move.
That'd be interesting, at least for the first season. That's what for the first season. It was in the first season. In the third Doctor's era, it was in his lab unit, and he would use it every once in a while. Go in there, scientific instruments or whatever.
Right. Yeah, and I think that's a much better use of the TARDIS, especially because we get to see the evolution of the interior over the course of a season.
Oh, that'd be interesting. I think you see her working on it, putting it together. Okay.
And maybe every time, and maybe us, the audience, we don't get to see it, and we follow the companions, and they kind of open the door like, "Hey, in here, Doc," and then Doctor comes out covered in soot and goggles and and we don't get to see it until the reveal. That's also fine with me. But having the TARDIS there and knowing that there's progress being made, maybe those are the parts taking it in. So maybe we will get a little bit if those cart contents are actually part of the interior.
Yeah.
It may look a little slammed together like the Tenet thing, but not as foam.
Yeah, maybe.
Well, I guess that's more Eccleston than Tenet, right?
You mean Smith? Smith had a lot of thrown together. He had typewriters and all
of them had their own version of this weird...
Yeah.
So,
other than that, I don't know. I'm just very excited for a change of pace.
Well, we should talk about the Dalek thing for a second.
Oh, this is just a brief thing in canon that correct me if I'm wrong, anyone.
Yeah, I've never heard of this either.
I've never heard this. They kind of go to the far future in one scene in this, and they go to the center of the universe. It's not Skaro, but it's the center of the universe. And on this planet are Daleks who have evolved, and they're on the outside of their suits,
They look like little brains with legs, and they also face hug Mark Gaddis.
I know that's already what's inside of a Dalek. We've seen episodes where they open up, but before we never really seen them come out.
But they usually have eyeballs, and they're not as spry.
So are they in canon saying that in the far future that's the fate of the Daleks as they become like
bug people?
People?
I kind of like that. I mean, it's cool. We didn't explore it much, but I think that's kind of okay.
Yeah, I'm fine with that.
So,
it could just be ones that Rusty has been sniping and destroying the suits, and then they live on the planet. I don't know. But I like to think that the Daleks become this weird, gross bug creature in the future, and they just devolve into...
Yeah, I think that's a good...
good ending for them, if that makes sense. We are the supreme bit! And they just
I would
continually devolve into just...
I would actually like one season without Daleks or Cybermen.
Me too.
I mean, it's fun sometimes... But how many times can you reveal to me, the Daleks are back?
Yeah.
I don't care. I mean, they're Daleks.
You know what would be amazing? What if we didn't get Daleks for like 5 seasons, and then
crazy.
they showed back up? And then would
be a really great reveal. Be like, holy shit. Why it was so good.
That was why it was
back
good.
In the day.
Yeah.
Is because, like, we haven't seen this shit forever, and Daleks happen. Okay, yeah, I'm in. But now, too many times. So, I want to see some original aliens. I want to see, definitely, obviously, the new TARDIS. Just in general, Jodie Whittaker's performance.
I think with the performance, anyone who was, like, not liking... I really like Capaldi's performance. Some of the scripts weren't great, but I get it. Yeah. But, some people are on board with this whole metatextual, self-doubting doctor thing.
Why?
I have a feeling that's completely... This is resolved now. That's what Capaldi did. He resolved it. He's fine with who he is now. Who she is now. And now I think we're going to get standard doctor who is confident in exploring.
But weird confident. Yeah. And I like that. I liked the Tennant Smith. There's like a little gap in between where I think you can definitely have a new character.
Yeah.
I think that's where we're settling. And this is, of course, wild speculation, as we stated, but just the brief moment, plus the costume, plus the exterior changes, plus what we know going into the season, it all kind of points me in that direction. I don't know if that's just me wishful thinking, but it seems to make a lot of sense as far as a writer is concerned, what you would do with that character. So, I'm also interested... I know that we got, like, the Clara stuff shoved down our faces a lot, but I do like the idea of... There's 4 companions, right? Or 3?
3.
I like the idea of having each of them, like, we follow their stories independently from time to time. And, like, maybe there's an episode where it's just the 3 companions, no doctor, and it's more like a, I don't know, Blink.
Okay,
You know what I'm saying?
And maybe they're all trying to locate him or get him...
Her.
Sorry. God
It's
damn
gonna
it.
take a little bit.
Take a while.
You know, maybe the doctor is in the background doing other stuff. He might run across the screen doing something crazy, but the camera's focused on the 3 companions. I think that's a cool episode idea, just based on premise. I have no content for that. I'm just saying, like, there's a lot of interesting things we can do with many companions.
Yeah.
So I'm really looking forward to this season. And, of course, you will get all of our reviews on Who Cares as they come out.
Yeah. And guy who makes the intro for these... Please make one with Jodie Whittaker's face.
Yeah.
As we do not have one.
Oh, I'm going to have to... My DMs are... That's where I contacted that guy every time. You are buried. So if you are watching this, hit me up.
So thanks, everyone. Stay tuned for next season of Who Cares. We're going to be... We're already excited to talk about it. It's months and months away. But when the trailer comes out for that, obviously, we'll do a whole breakdown.
Just like last time.
Any big news... Maybe returning villains or anything. I don't think we're gonna get.
We'll probably speculate when the episode list comes out as well.
Yeah,
like we did last time.
But other than that, stay tuned for Black Mirror season 4 reviews.
Yeah, that's tomorrow.
It's tomorrow the 29th.
No.
Then no. It's the 29th.
Hugo.